Welcome to Democracy-ish. I'm Danielle Moodie.
And I'm Wajahat. And even though I'm Muslim and worked for Al Jazeera America, I unfortunately do not have a jumbo jet to give to Donald Trump.
Sure?
If only I had a jumbo jet, maybe he'd be nicer to brown people and Muslims. But sadly, I'm just a simple co-host of a podcast. How about you, Danielle?
I take public transportation, so I too don't have a jumbo jet. I don't know if the 330 million Americans who don't have jumbo jets, if we could put together maybe $1 a piece, maybe we would get the attention that Donald Trump is giving to Qatar right now, or that Qatar is giving to Donald Trump. Folks, welcome. Let's just dive in, because this photo for me, this AI generated photo, appreciation to the folks that put this together. This is it. Right? Like, I don't know about you, Waj. I hate the game of Monopoly. And I hate Monopoly because it always ends in a fight, right? Because the whole point of Monopoly is that only one person can win, and you win by making other people suffer, throwing them in jail, taking away their resources, and then amassing as much as you possibly can. That's Donald Trump's entire life. Right? Is the game of Monopoly. Real people don't matter. It's just, what can I get from me? Extraction, extraction, extraction. And the fact that this is happening in broad daylight, Waj, just let's walk through, because some folks, they take their mental health seriously and they unplug over the weekend. You and I, however, apparently are just gluttons for punishment. Well, you in particular, because I unplug over the weekend. But tell folks what has happened.
So yesterday, the Trump administration openly announced that they will accept a, quote, palace in the sky, not just a jumbo jet, folks, a luxury jumbo jet to be used, wait for it, as Air Force One. Yes, Air Force One, the name of the movie starring Harrison Ford taking on Russian terrorists. That will be the official plane of the Trump administration, again, gifted to the Trump administration by a foreign government, Qatar. So first and foremost, you have to ask yourself, is it ethical to accept a luxury jumbo jet by another country while I'm president? The answer, of course, is no. Number two, I would think, if I'm a foreign country, I don't know, maybe you could rig that plane, maybe with surveillance. Maybe it's a massive national security threat, like you have no idea, right? The software, I don't know, the bugs in there. I'm just saying, right? So maybe probably say, nah, thank you so much. Maybe donate that plane to, I don't know, the El Salvador immigrants that you want to bring back from the foreign gulag that you have illegally kidnapped and sent to their death. But no, the most valuable gift ever extended to the United States from a foreign government, and let's be honest, not to the United States, to Donald Trump.
Right.
A gift from the royal family in the form of a jumbo jet that he is open to using as Air Force One, the literally the headquarters in the sky where official business is done. And then afterwards, once he leaves one day, whenever that might be, it will be transferred, not to the public. No. It won't be used as the Pope Mobile, right? Where the late Pope Francis said, use my Pope Mobile to make it into a convoy for Palestinians who are being killed in a genocide. It will be donated to the Presidential Library Foundation, because Donald Trump, he's a big reader.
I was going to say, I'm like, what? So let's first of all, so I have to put this up that Don just said, the t-shirt. I went to the Middle East and all I got was a luxury jumbo jet.
Well, you know why? Don's correct, because another big piece of news coinciding with this, it was announced. Danielle, tell them the first official foreign trip of the Trump administration. Can you tell them where it is?
Oh, isn't he going to? Wait, where is he going?
Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So money, more money, 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 money. And also, let me just say this, just, for folks who may not remember, right? Because so much has happened over the last 8 or 9 years that it's hard for us to keep track. But Waj, so UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jared Kushner, son-in-law of Donald Trump, was a strategic foreign advisor during his first term. what little chunk of change did he walk away with in after he left the administration?
Oh yeah, Jared Kushner just somehow got a $2 billion loan for his company
Mhm.
from the Gulf countries, right? And then also, if you all recall, I keep the receipts. The first trip that the Trump administration made during the first term was, wait for it, Saudi Arabia.
Right.
And that was, wait for it, Jared Kushner
Yep.
used to talk to MBS, Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia, and Mohammed bin Salman then allegedly bragged he has Jared Kushner in his, quote, back pocket.
Literally, because
Yeah,
they talk on
unsecure
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, which is one of the many reasons why people said we don't want to give Jared Kushner security clearance. And then Donald Trump bypassed those security measures, gave his son-in-law security clearance. Jared Kushner had a back channel with MBS. Jared Kushner essentially gave MBS a green light for the coup that he did. MBS
Yep.
does the coup, the Red Wedding, gains control. And next thing you know, you got Steve Bannon dancing with swords and Donald Trump doing a curtsy for Saudi Arabia, the same country that they assailed, and they also assailed Hillary Clinton for because a Saudi had given Hillary Clinton money, right? And so the press is like, how dare does Hillary Clinton accept a donation? So Hillary Clinton gives the money back to Saudi Arabia, but it doesn't matter because it's all a grift. As soon as he gets in power, oh, Saudi Arabia, you want to invest a lot of money? Sure. MBS comes here, remember? He meets all the famous people. He meets the business tycoons. Guess who's purchased golf for billions of dollars, LIV Golf? Saudi Arabia. It's all for sale. And now Qatar is like, oh, this is the most corrupt president in history. How do we win him over? Let's give him a royal jumbo jet in the sky. And then voila, Donald Trump. And this is for the pro-Israel folks who got played. I was warning you. He doesn't go to Israel for his first foreign trip. He's going to Qatar and Saudi Arabia and UAE.
So here's Donald Trump saying very clearly. So the fact that the Defense Department is getting a gift free of charge of a 747 aircraft to replace the 40-year-old Air Force One temporarily in a very public and transparent transaction. Bitch, anytime that Donald Trump says the words public and transparent, you know the opposite to be true. Okay? So like let us like please.
That should be a meme. Danielle is saying, bitch.
Like honestly, so
Insert.
bothers the crooked Democrats that they insist we pay top dollar for the plane. Anybody can do that. The Dems and a world-class loser is MAGA. So let's just be very clear, because I want to go back to what you said, Waj, as you were unpacking this, which is that why don't we accept gifts from, let's just do Constitution Emoluments 101. Why is it that the United States shouldn't accept luxury gifts from foreign agents? Just off the dome. Why shouldn't we do that?
Well, first of all, the reason why it would be a bad thing is because you don't want to get bribed. And especially for the president of the United States, and especially if you are entrusted with our national security, and your priority should be the betterment of the American people, its economy, its well-being. You don't want to sell out your country and your people to a foreign country. Number one. If you are being bribed, you are now vulnerable. You now belong to a foreign country, which has different interests than your country. And also, in addition to being unethical, potentially illegal, you compromise the national security of your country.
Correct. So here's the thing, right? And I love this, David, that you just said. So now the richest country in history can't afford its own planes. Got it, right? So again, America, MAGA wants to sell you like America is great. Like we do everything. Number one, we don't need the world, America alone. And now, but you need a handout and welfare from Qatar. And what you said, Waj, which was also really important that I want to get to, which is the fact that Qatar is putting together the plane. It's not American engineers that are putting together the plane. It's not, it'll be, I'm assuming, maybe American operators of said plane. So you're telling me that you don't think in this very wealthy, modern country that you can put together any type of spy devices, any type of spyware cameras, software into the data. You understand that as you were saying this, the operations that happen in the West Wing, the operations that happen in the war rooms, the operations and conversations that happen, right, in the White House also happen in Air Force One.
That's
and
it.
You're telling me that one of the biggest funders of Hamas, a terrorist organization, you're going to be taking a jumbo jet from them and think that we should all, as Donald Trump, just going back to what he said, it's a gift free of charge. Let's just make very fucking clear that in politics ain't nothing fucking free.
Why?
Right?
Why would? Okay.
Free.
So, by the way, I'm looking at the comment section. Hilarious. There's a war between how do you pronounce Qatar. If you actually go to Qatar, the way Qataris pronounce it is Qatar. So that's how you pronounce it in Qatar. And so I can't do the Qatar, so I do Qatar. And
I do
only in America
because I can't do.
Yeah, and only in America do they say Qatar. In Qatar, no one says Qatar.
Not Qatar.
Yeah, so that's just for people who know. So like in if you actually go to Qatar, they're like yeah, Qatar, welcome to Qatar. And so I just do Qatar, which is the best I could do. So pardon, I just thought that was very amusing. People are like, it's Qatar, it's Qatar. I'm like, that's what you guys are arguing about, which is hilarious. But continue. Free speech in the forum. But we have bigger news, which is the fact that a foreign country and foreign countries, just like they realized in the first administration, know that this man will throw the entire country under the bus, that the White House is an ATM, right?
Throw it under the jumbo jet.
Sorry, throw it under the jumbo jet wheels. The first administration, if you remember, Saudis and foreign countries deliberately used to come to America and stay in Trump hotels. In fact, they used to just buy out the hotels because they realized, oh, this is a corrupt mother effer. If you line up his pockets, he'll give us anything that we want. So they used to come, go to his golf courses, remember, used to stay in all his hotels. And now they're like, oh, he's completely, nakedly, shamelessly corrupt. We don't even have to install spyware. We don't have to even install cameras. We could simply buy him out, probably just say, hey, here's a jumbo jet. We're going to give you a phone call and give us all the secrets. And Donald Trump will say, okay, my son also needs a jumbo jet. Barron needs a jumbo jet. Melania needs a jumbo jet. It's so shameless and naked. And also the hypocrisy, right? The hypocrisy of the fact, and we'll get into it in a second, but like the whole hypocrisy of Qatar is bad and Mehdi Hassan used to work for Al Jazeera and Wajahat's a Muslim. See, folks, for those who don't know, anytime you're Muslim in public, ever since 9/11, by virtue of us being Muslim, they say that we're members of the Radical Muslim Brotherhood. We're members of the Radical Ikhwan. They call us Hamas. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, it doesn't matter. They just throw this stuff at us, and Islamophobia and anti-Arab bigotry is the last refuge for bigots where there's literally zero repercussions. I'll give you an example. A couple months ago on CNN, Scott Jennings openly said on Abby Phillips' show, Ilhan Omar is the PR agent of Hamas. Nobody corrected her. You can openly say this stuff, right? And they were saying,
what about the beeper comment that was also made on CNN to Mehdi Hassan? Remind people of that. Okay,
so just a couple of months ago on Abby Phillips' show, there was this right-wing nut who came up and he was justifying the act of terrorism, not my words, Leon Panetta's words, where Israel exploded the beepers in public places in Lebanon, which injured innocent civilians, killed a lot of Hezbollah members. And he was mocking Mehdi. Mehdi is an Indian Muslim American, right? Born in England. And the guy looked at Mehdi and said, beep, beep. And Mehdi, to his credit, didn't let it go. And because Mehdi didn't let it go.
He said, is your beeper going off?
Is your beeper going off? Beep, beep. And he's like, what do you mean? You mean I'm Hezbollah? You mean I should be killed? And then because Mehdi didn't let it go, Abby Phillips was then forced to have outrage. So I'm telling all of you, we deal with this all the time. Democrats, by virtue of electing President Obama, people forget in 2008, 2012, he's not Muslim. But because his name is Obama, they said he is a member of the Radical Muslim Brotherhood. He is sympathetic to Hamas. Blah, 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 blah. Qatar, as Danielle said, is one of the main funders, sponsors of Hamas. By the way, Netanyahu was perfectly fine with Qatar and others funding Hamas, right? Because he wanted to divide and conquer. So you could blame Netanyahu also for being pro-Hamas. Regardless, if it's any of us who used to work for Al Jazeera America, Al Jazeera English, we're Qatar, we're Hamas, we're extremists, we're terrorists. I haven't gotten a jumbo jet. I'm not paid like that, right? But here's Donald Trump. When Donald Trump accepts a jumbo jet from Qatar, when he decides to go to Saudi Arabia in his first term and now Qatar in his second term, right? It's all great. When Pam Bondi with the big cross right above her breast sits there and says, radical Muslim brother, terrorist. But oh no, she's the one. I've never got paid $100,000 a month to be a lobbyist by either Saudi Arabia, UAE, or Qatar. But the current attorney general, Pam Bondi, who authorized Trump's luxury plane, says perfectly fine, folks, was a lobbyist for Qatar, otherwise known as Qatar or Qatar.
Unearthed records show that AG Pam Bondi, who authorized Trump's luxury plane gift from Qatar, was previously a lobbyist for Qatar, receiving $100,000 a month. $100,000 a month. Okay, folks? And you say, are you sure? Is this right? Bum, bum. Consulting Services Agreement Amendment 1. The Amendment 1 shall amend that certain consulting services agreement dated June 28th, 2018, and between the Embassy of the State of Qatar and Ballard Partners. And if you go down, and specifically the following consultant personnel shall be designed key personnel, Miss Pam Bondi and Mr. James Rubin. Key personnel shall be personally and substantially engaged in the delivery of services. So, you know, a part of me, right? Waj puts together our show, right? He goes through all of the horrific news and then he's like, Danielle, pick out what you want to discuss. And I tell you that today from top to bottom was bribe, grift on so many fucking levels, right? Yes. It's like $100,000 a month.
Danielle's mom who watches the show is like, Danielle, like, I got contacts in Jamaica.
Right. What are we doing wrong? So much. Why should I tell you this on a regular basis? So fucking much. But so here you have it. And it's like and Josie says here, she goes, breathtaking. Like it's the grifting in our faces is so fucking astounding, is the word. Like it is remarkable. And to the point, friends, right? Where you're connecting all of these dots, and then oh my God. I'm not going to play the whole clip. Because I don't want you guys to lose your minds. But can you please listen to Bobblehead Barbie in the White House press briefing room try and make this make sense for all of us? Just take a listen to her. I swear to you, I'll only do it for a few seconds.
Let me just get to the premise of your question that both of you have raised. I think it's frankly ridiculous that anyone in this room would even suggest that President Trump is doing anything for his own benefit. He left a life of luxury and a life of running a very successful real estate empire for public service, not just once, but twice. And again, the American public reelected him back to this White House because they trust he acts in the best interest of our country and putting the American public first. This is a president who has actually lost money for being president of the United States. I don't remember these same type of questions being asked of my predecessor.
The reason why those questions weren't asked of your predecessor, you fucking idiot, is because he wasn't grifting off of the presidency. And the idea that she could even, Waj, look into the camera and say that Donald Trump left a life of luxury. He didn't even leave Mar-a-Lago because that is where all of his fucking meetings are being held. Okay. So who are you lying to? He's never in the White House. So he left actually fucking nothing, while his sons are going around the world with their hands out and their latest ventures of meme coins and luxury clubs opening in DC at the tune of tens of thousands of dollars a month, because the hotel that Waj talked about that Donald Trump conveniently opened in 2017 on Pennsylvania Avenue closed down after he left Washington the first time. So now what do they have to do? Oh, we need another club. We need another space. right? Because when people come into town, they have to have some place to stay that is going directly to benefit our pockets. Folks, when I say this shit, and just again, reminder, because Waj said, you know what? Wasn't I called out for working for Al Jazeera? Weren't we all attacked because they, right? The right said that Al Jazeera bought and paid for by Qatar. Qatar is a bad actor. And then you have, here, Aaron Nasser. I was told Qatar is a bad actor and that presidents shouldn't be accepting emoluments from foreign countries, not to mention those that harbor Hamas. I look forward to the self-described quote-unquote MAGA constitutional conservatives justifying Trump accepting Qatar's new Air Force One. And Waj, tell them the one person right now. Again, this is what it feels like to be in hell. When we can do this show and simultaneously have agreed with Steve Bannon about the investigation that needs to happen into transparency around DOGE, because even a broken clock is right twice a day. Now,
Laura Loomer, one of the most prominent anti-Muslim bigots, an unhinged conspiracy theorist, a woman who is so racist that even Marjorie Taylor Greene says she racist. That Laura Loomer, who, by the way, has the ear of Donald Trump, who has more sway over Donald Trump than his own cabinet, who influenced Donald Trump, according to her, to finally reassign Mike Waltz of Signalgate, who also got some people fired. That Laura Loomer just came out and said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I would take a bullet for this man. I love him so much, but I have to call a spade a spade. This is too much. We cannot accept a $400 million quote-unquote gift from jihadists in suits. So her Islamophobia outweighs even her grift. And even she's saying
outweighs her love of Trump.
Yeah, her outweighs her love of Trump. Like, mainly for Laura, it was like if Israel gave this to Donald, she'd probably say it's okay. But because it's the Qataris and Muslims, it's like it makes her Islamophobia in a strange way, like rewires her brain or makes her see the grift that otherwise she probably wouldn't see because she hates the Muslims so much. So she sees clearly that this is a grift and a bribe. So even she calls them out. And she's not the only one. If Laura Loomer is saying it, there are other members of MAGA. So I, for one, in a strange way saw this, Danielle. I'm like, good, let them fight. More fissures. These fissures are happening, right? You see this happening around immigration where they're like, I don't think we should, just kidnap random students or kidnap and just send people to a gulag. I hate Elon Musk. These DOGE cuts are too much. Whoa. Don't befriend the Muslims that much. As many of these fissures that we can help exploit, Danielle, it's good. But look at the fissures that are created. You have the world's worst anti-Muslim bigot having clarity, saying, whoa. And then you have Caroline Levitt with the cross right above her, cleavage, saying, this martyr of a man who lives in Mar-a-Lago and is grifting and his kids are opening clubs and he's opening up a Bitcoin and literally the other grift we haven't talked about, speaking about the meme coin, the $1 million investors, whoever invests the most will get a coveted invitation to the White House. It's all a grift. Literally, buy my meme coin, and whoever buys the most will get an invite. So if I'm a foreign country, this is what I would do. Look at this idiot. This is so easy. I can literally buy him. All right, hey, let's spend $100 million in this piece of shit meme coin. It's going to be garbage. And then by spending $100 million, let's get this coveted invite. Let's be one of the 100 people who are there. And then let's get what we want from this mother effer. Everything is for sale, even American national security. And folks, friggin' MAGA thinks that this mother effer cares about them. It's terrible to be in a cult. Sorry, Danielle, continue.
No, I want to say this because what else was attached to the $400 billion gift, right? So Donald Trump is doing a CYA because if you don't agree, right, then once again, you're going to be called a what? Anti-Semite. So Donald Trump, following this announcement of the $400 million public bribe, says, I'm happy to announce that Edon Alexander, an American citizen who has been held hostage since October 2023, is coming home to his family. I'm grateful to all those involved in making this monumental news happen. This was a step taken in good faith towards the United States and efforts of the mediators in where? Qatar and Egypt, to put an end to this very brutal war and return all living hostages and remains to their loved ones. Hopefully, this is the first of those final steps necessary to end this brutal conflict. I look forward to the day of celebration. Is that the day that Trump Gaza opens?
You know, listen, I have to bring out receipts. About 8 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, I was on Morning Joe. I had written a piece on the settlers in the West Bank, Israeli settlers in the West Bank. There was also a documentary for the Atlantic. It's a piece, and if you even look at YouTube right now, just see, Wajahat, West Bank. It has like 3 million views. All right. So I was supposed to go and just talk about this piece. I went as a reporter, not as necessarily a commentator. I just went as a reporter, right? And I tried to be as fair as I could. I was given 5 minutes. And Mika Brzezinski, who knows a thing or two, very smart. Her father, of course, was in the Carter administration, knows a thing or two about Israel-Palestine, right? Did a 5-minute talk, 6-minute talk with her about the piece. Now, Danielle, nobody had told me that after the 5-minute, interview, I would be in a debate between Barry Weiss and Joe for 20 minutes. So next thing, Barry Weiss comes up. I'm like, what's happening? And Joe, who was sitting on the side drinking coffee, it was me, Mika, and Barry, right? I'm like, all right. And I was making my points because it's not really too hard to make Israel look bad, especially with the occupation and settlements. Joe, who was literally in the corner, it was break time for Joe, puts down his coffee, Danielle, taps in, and takes over the segment. Mika becomes quiet as a mouse. Mika knows what's happening in Israel-Palestine, right? So now it becomes 2 versus 1 for. You can watch the debate. It's online. 17 minutes. And I didn't come as to debate. I just came as a reporter. I'm like, what the hell's happening? Exhausted, right? I held my own. But the last point we made was both Joe and Barry said, well, who should America talk to? So talk to the Palestinians. Who? Even Hamas? And I'm like, if Donald Trump can talk to friggin' Kim Jong-un, who killed a U.S. student and starves his people and receive, love letters, then why are you against him talking to Hamas if it could result in a peace treaty? Quiet. Joe said, good point. Ends the interview right there. Yep. All these people are like, how dare this darky, this Muslim, this brown say talk to Hamas? We're not going to talk to terrorists. And now it's A-OK. Voila.
Okay.
See, I'm sorry that I'm talking about this because as a Muslim, I'm telling you how it's been for 25 years, folks. That's how it is by virtue of just being Muslim. I'm a son of Pakistani immigrants. They don't care. They demonize us when we say things like, if you're willing to talk to China, Iran, North Korea, talk to us. If it'll result in peace, you're a terrorist. Of course we won't. And then Donald Trump is perfectly fine accepting a jumbo jet from Qatar, which is one of the main, if you will, guardians of Hamas. And coincidentally, like Daniel just said, the release of the hostage. I wonder how that happened. Oh, yeah. Qatar helped mediate. And now he's going to Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE.
And just, again, to double and triple down on what Waj is saying about buying this presidency. And again, I just want to remind us who said this about Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton in 2016. She said, all you have to do is throw this man a little bit of favor, a little bit of flattery, and you can have whatever you want. And I say this all the time. Greatest line from a Salt and Pepper song. What is the difference between a hooker and a hoe? Ain't no difference but the fee. Right? Donald Trump is a hooker, right? He is being paid to play, right, with the Middle East, with quote unquote bad actors who have more money than literal God to throw at him, and it's no sweat to them. So top Trump crypto buyers vying for dinner seats are likely foreign because, again, you're talking about oil money. You're talking about, this is like palace money, okay? This is insane. So throw in $100 million, that is lunch money to these extraordinary billionaires. So I'm like, they know that Donald Trump is a fucking trick.
That's right.
Like, he is a trick. And all they have to do is they're like, man, all it costs is a luxury plane. Bet. Here you go. Right? All you need from China, or a little trade, a little deals for your daughter, for Ivanka, to be able to rush through her crap that she sells there. Bet. That's what he did in the first term. All of this is a pay for play. And the thing that pisses me off, Waj, and I'll say this like real talk, is the fact that while Donald Trump is absolutely brazen and outlandish about his relationships and his pay for play and his quid pro quo, the reality is, bless you, the reality is that Democrats play the same fucking games. They play the same games. So when people say, oh, there is a difference. One is wildly brazen. But the reason why we only make incremental progress in this country on any given issue is because Democrats take the same amount of fucking money. But they try and whitewash that money and greenwash that money, and, and say that we're going to, when you're doing it for the gay, it's pink washing. When you're doing it it's black washing, greenwashing, blah, blah. You take good money, take bad money, and you do quote unquote good things with it. The road to hell. The road to hell, which leads directly to the Capitol building, is paved with that kind of thinking.
I have another sneeze coming. Continue. Wait, no, I got it. I think it's some allergies, but I'm in DC, Virginia, right? And I always used to joke that if you close your eyes here in the DMV and you throw a pebble, you'll hit someone. Most likely they'll be paid by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, or UAE. Republican, Democrat, agnostic, it doesn't matter. The type of foreign lobbyist funding in this town is obscene. They've bought out so many folks, right, to do their bidding, to do their legwork, to talk about their talking points. It doesn't matter. Republicans, they play both sides of the aisle. It's Republicans and Democrats, right? Pay for play. Everyone's a hoe here, right? And most of them are cheap hoes. The cheapest hoe is Donald Trump. The problem is Donald Trump is the president of the United States of America. It should never be this naked, this shameless, this egregious, to the point where literally the symbol of corruption will be flying in the sky as Air Force One. And they know, because he's the most corrupt, the most shameless, dirty, cheap hoe of them all, that they can buy him with the simple, like they could buy him. Like, they're the type of people who could just throw some dollar bills. You go to a strip club. I never have gone, but if you go to a strip club, you don't even have to give her 100. You just have to give him a 5 and a Big Mac, and he'd be like, "What do you want? You want New Jersey? I'll give it to you. I don't like New Jersey." He's that person, right? So this guy is the president of the United States, who, in his first administration, openly told you this is how business will be conducted. The Oval Office is an ATM. Whoever lines my garters with dollar bills will get what they want. I'll sell out the country. And if you don't believe me, Russia. I'll sell out the EU. I'll sell out Ukraine. I'll sell out anything and everything. I'll sell out our allies, the Peshmerga, right? And Turkey, just send me a letter. Okay, you want me to remove U.S. forces? Sure. Remember that big scandal no one talks about? And then as soon as they remove the U.S. foots on the ground and soldiers on the ground, guess who stepped in? Russia. It was a gift to Russia and Turkey. So you are selling out everything about us to make not America, but Donald Trump rich again. Everyone does it, but Donald Trump is like on steroids. No one has been this shameless. I want to remind folks that Jimmy Carter, when he was president, he sold off his peanut farm, man. He's like, whoa, that might be too corrupt. Jimmy Carter's probably like, damn, I should have had the Qataris invest in my peanut farm. I could have made a lot more money. But alas, here we are, folks. Here we are.
So just to say this, right? We run down the grift that we know of today, right? That is breaking news. And you say to yourself, well, I mean, but in the meantime, isn't he doing right by the country? Like, aren't things going well? Absolutely fucking not, actually. If you've also been following all of the FAA disaster that is unfolding at Newark, that, by the way, wasn't happening 5 and 6 months ago, right, is now the norm. And it says, Zach Patankis, it is not a coincidence that these problems started after the Trump administration made cuts to aviation safety to pay for their tax cut package for who? The wealthy.
Yep.
So the breaking news was air traffic control equipment outage caused the FAA to implement a ground stop for 45 minutes at Newark International Airport. And that happened over the weekend. FAA advisors show the ground stop lasted for 45 minutes. This comes after, guess what? A 90-second long radio and radar outage that happened in the middle of the night. Thank God it was about 3 a.m. that you're an air traffic controller. There are planes in the sky and your fucking computer screen goes black
You're
for
blind.
90 seconds.
You're blind. For 90 seconds, you're blind.
90 seconds. A minute at the 90 seconds that planes are in the sky, there is absolutely no audio and no visual communication for 90 seconds.
Think about it. Planes are coming down, planes are taking off, planes are circling, and for 90 seconds, time that 90 seconds, you might think it's not a big deal. But now imagine if you're a pilot or if you're in that plane for 90 seconds and you're relying on air traffic control to tell you whether or not it's safe to land, whether you're second in line, third in line.
Started to make the, we're making our descent, right? And you can't see shit for 90 seconds. This is what has been happening readily at Newark since Donald Trump came into office. And right now, right, no one has died yet.
No, people have died already in preventable airline crashes.
At DCA, right, and other places. And you think, again, these were things, much like our breath, you never have to think about until you lose it, right? Until it's constricted in some way. We never have to think about the FAA and think about, how the planes go up and come down and this, that, and the other thing, because it's just a given. Well, since Donald Trump comes in and DOGE takes a hatchet to everything, guess what's not a given? Your fucking safety.
That's right.
So you think to yourself, well, at least DOGE is saving us money.
Nope.
No.
$2 trillion.
DOGE is not saving you money.
Nope. Look at that, folks. It is finally admitting that it has only saved us about 160 billion, a little bit less. But in turn, Department of Education is gone. USAID is gone. Millions of children are going to die. Cuts to FAA, which have resulted in preventable airline collisions and also some deaths. Cuts to NIH, CDC. Cuts to Veteran Affairs, which have made thousands of Americans, especially veterans, lose their jobs. About 250,000 people have lost their jobs. Those people don't have income. They don't have health insurance. It's going to hurt the economy. Representative Kazar said just yesterday that the Trump administration through DOGE is also going to stop tracking the costs of natural disasters. So, folks, as we have hurricanes and tornadoes and climate change, this government says, tracking natural disasters, that's a waste. Cut. Meanwhile, Elon Musk, though, is going to get his Starlink and SpaceX contracts. He's going to get $400 million from the State Department for armored vehicles, right? Cybertrucks that have to be recalled. The rich are going to get their tax cuts. They're also going to manipulate the stock market by implementing a terrible, no good trade war, which they're going to lose. And some people are going to short the market. And Donald Trump, in the video clip that we played on this show, is literally going to point them out and say, Charles Schwab, he made $1 billion. The other man made $500,000, as people were literally losing their pensions. The rich are getting richer. The poor are getting poorer. It's all a big grift. Don't you feel great again?
Oh, I feel fantastic. Also, and just if you're saying to yourself, oh, it can't possibly get worse. Yeah, it can. Because, on top of the gifts that Donald Trump and the administration is receiving from Qatar, they're also receiving $1 billion gift from a bunch of law firms in the United States that are bending the knee to Donald Trump and to make sure that they assist him at no cost in legal cases that him and his cronies may have, that they represent MAGA institutions for, guess what? pro bono so that they can avoid being targeted by this executive branch. This is yet another. Milbank LLP reached a deal with Trump, according to a post on Trump's Truth Social account. So, folks, here's the thing. This country, I try. I don't know, Waj. I try on a regular basis, but it's becoming incredibly hard to say that America just is not absolutely and unequivocally fucked at this point, right? Like, it's becoming harder and harder to say, like, no, it's not that bad, or like we can still, pull in the reins. Because when you can spend, we're at 40 minutes right now, running through just what we know of the grift that is happening in front of our own eyes, that the Attorney General of these United States gave a big thumbs up and green light to, and that no one is going to stop this, right? Like, how do you manage, and I'm asking you this, Waj, because people ask me all of the time, how are you managing to have faith in any of the things that need to happen? Like, do we just say to ourselves, well, America's gone for the next few generations, but we got to keep our nose to the grind? Like, what is it that we need to say?
So, first of all, we haven't even gone through everything. The outline that I gave Danielle had even more stuff, but Danielle was like, I'm too tired. There's more, folks. So we just gave you the highlights. There's more. We didn't talk to you about the billionaires lining up for Donald Trump. We didn't talk to you about the pressure on CNN. We didn't talk to you about Paramount.
The pressure on Paramount.
Paramount bending the knee and throwing 60 Minutes under the bus for mergers, all the law firms. We didn't talk to you about the fact that they're kidnapping, I don't know, illegal immigrants. We didn't talk to you about the fact that ICE illegally arrested Mayor Baraka of Newark for simply trying to find out what's happening in ICE detention facilities. We didn't talk to you about the fact that ICE is now emboldened brown shirts of the Trump administration. Pay for play or else we'll get you kidnapped, deported, arrested, sued. He's going after CNN because he wants a favorable Melania documentary like the one that Bezos offered him from Amazon. It's all a grift. It's fascism. It's autocracy. It's the oligarchy. It's kleptocracy, right? And so, to answer Daniel's question, I've said it's going to get worse before it gets better. Someone said, some of my Arab American brothers went for Donald Trump. I was in Michigan over the weekend, and specifically, I went to go give a speech at a fundraiser, and it was for a great cause. HDF. HDF creates hospitals and schools for the most impoverished in Pakistan, right? Great track record. 450 people showed up. Upper class Pakistani Americans in that community gave a lot of money. 80% of that crowd voted for Donald Trump. 80%, folks. And many of them could have switched over, meaning 80% of them who voted for Donald Trump could have easily voted Democrat. They decided to vote in a self-interested, myopic way for Donald Trump because they were really pissed off about Gaza and also because of Imran Khan and Pakistan. Right. I won't get into it, but long story short, also how the Democrats effed up. I talked to some of the leaders, and they said the Democrats wouldn't even meet with us, Danielle. The Democrats kicked us out of meetings. The Democrats said, shut your mouth. You're going to vote for us anyway. That's what they said. You're going to vote for this anyway. And guess what? A lot of them didn't vote. A lot of them stayed at home. And a lot of them said, F you, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. Why? Republicans sent. It's cynical. It's disgusting. It doesn't matter. That's how human beings are. Republicans went out of their way to meet them. Richard Grenell went out of their way, Danielle, to meet them, right? It's all bullshit, but he met them. If no one's inviting you to the prom, someone comes and gives you a flower, you're like, oh, okay, maybe. And then also, look what they said, bringing things back full circle. It's quid pro quo anyway with Donald Trump and the administration. We know he's corrupt. We know he doesn't believe in anything. So, okay, we give him this, he gives us that, right? Of course, I was horrified, disgusted, saddened, and I said, it's going to get worse. Now, because they're upper class and upper middle class, Danielle, guess what they said? It won't be that bad.
It won't be that bad.
It's not that bad right now. I'm like, what are you talking about? And even now, folks, because they're upper class and upper middle class, it hasn't affected them yet. And I remember, Danielle, 2001 to 2008, People were like this, folks. This country lost its damn mind. It took 6 years of pain. And then in 2007, after so much pain and suffering, America was like, we'll elect a Muslim black man. Like, that's how bad it got, right? Like, that's the only reason Obama got elected, because it was so bad, right? So it is going to get worse. It is going to get bad. It's only been 3 months. He's underwater on everything. All the rich people and all the people who still don't have their regrets, all the people who still think it's quid pro quo. What I told them is, it is quid pro quo, but you don't have as much money as Qatar, and you don't have as much money as the person, the lady who gave him $100 million, a hardcore Zionist owner of Mavericks. I'm forgetting her name. You all know the wife of the casino mogul, right? You don't have that much money, and you don't have as much money as Elon Musk, and you're brown skinned. And most of your immigrants and most of your Muslims, and just like after 9/11, you're going to learn the hard way. And so I'm at this situation right now. Miriam Adelson, thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
I told him, I said, you don't got as much money as Miriam Adelson. She already gave her $100 million, which is why Palestinians are going to be cleansed from Gaza. You don't got that much money, folks. You're just a doctor. You don't got Miriam Adelson money. So my take is this. There's going to be massive pain. It's going to take people a year or two to really figure it out, maybe less, Danielle. And the rest of us, the told you so's for the past 25 years, we have to take care of ourselves, our mental health, our families, our communities. And then there's a part of me, Danielle, that says the following. And I had a conversation with my friends yesterday. A bunch of us just met, and they're like us. So they talk about this stuff and freak out. It's easy to crush the enemy, right? But I remember what happened after 9/11. A lot of people got radicalized in the opposite direction, Danielle, and said, oh my God, the Bush administration lied to me. If we can capture and convert them and win over enough people. And then the last thing I'll say is the status quo won't work. So notice, folks, everyone's going, not everyone, but Donald Trump is underwater across the board in 3.5 months. It hasn't correlated to a spike in Democratic favorability. What does that mean? People aren't automatically going to go to Democrats, Danielle. Democrats have to earn people's votes. So I think you could sit there and check out and be apathetic. I refuse to. I have kids. I believe in the long run, we have a chance. We have to survive. And Churchill said, survival is victory. Right now, we just got to survive. You got to buckle down, survive, take care of your mental health, save your money, invest in your local communities, just survive. But also build, build, build. And I think we have to purge the Democratic Party and our elected officials of the old, I'm not using old as a pejorative, I'm talking about old way of thinking, leadership. I think it's done. I think Schumer's are done. The Pelosi's are done, Danielle. I think the Democratic Party still hasn't come to terms with the fact that there's a massive reckoning happening. And I think we build that movement, a new movement that represents us, and then we take back power. But I think it's going to take 4 to 6 years. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's sooner. But that's the optimist in me, taking full account of where I think with clear eyes where we are right now. Sorry for my long explanation, but where are you, Danielle?
I mean, I always appreciate your explanation. It's why I asked the question, because I think that the way that you just connected the dots, really, really matters. What I think is this, I think I'm a bit more cynical than you are, because you say 4 to 6 years, and I actually think that it's going to take a decade plus,
probably
for Democrats ever to even consider the rebuilding. I like what David Hogg is doing, which is taking on organizing and taking on Democrats in safe districts and removing them with progressives and primarying them in safe areas first. I think makes a ton of sense. I think that there is going to need to be a collective amount of destruction, right? And a collective amount of pain that is felt for people to really truly understand what's been destroyed. I think that even when Donald Trump is gone, right? Trumpism is not gone. I think that Donald Trump has fundamentally forever changed America. And to the extent that we will never have the level of trust that was once bestowed upon politicians, even though that politicians lie and they don't follow through with all of their campaign promises. This is to the my God, millionth degree, to where I think that Donald Trump has fundamentally broke our trust in agencies, in leadership, and faith in this country, and that is going to take a generation, right, to rebuild. And rebuild how? Right? Rebuild with who in mind? Rebuild with who at the center? Right? So I and to understand too that the amount of wealth that is being amassed right now by the uber wealthy, the amount of wealth that is being taken from the middle class and working class and poor is going to have, again, devastating impacts for generations, right? When you're taking away these social safety nets and you're taking away education and you're taking away, the monitoring of health and well-being, all of that being gone. We have not even begin to understand what that destruction is actually going to result in, right?
Generational.
Like we can look at other countries as models, but it is going to be generational. So, I think that the Democratic Party, I think both of these parties, as we've understood them for you and I in our lives, is done.
Yep.
Right. There is no Republican Party. There is no sensible non-cult member of the Republican Party. That's gone. Right. And then the Democratic Party, which has, taken the stance of let's just wait and see what happens over the last 3 months, the faith that they're going to do anything other than shrug their shoulders and say, what can we do? They're done as well. So I think that right now, to your point, bringing it back full circle, survival is the goal.
Yep.
To really think about, if you have resources, where you put them, right? Like, we thank all of you all the time because, again, Waj and I, we make money off of what it is that we offer in terms of our analysis and our thoughts about the direction of this country. Neither one of us are linked to corporations. Neither one of us, are out here shucking and jiving and saying what sounds right in order to pad our pockets. Like, we make what it is that you all provide for us and that's it, right? So I think that, like, we have to be investing in each other, investing in voices, investing in community projects and operations that are about helping people. And that is the only way that we're going to survive. And those of us who are left, right, can think about what will the future hold, and what do we need to plant now for those, seeds to blossom sometime down the road. But I think that it's definitely more than 4 to 6 years, and that is.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Actually, I agree with you. 4 to 6 years. What I meant was for us to get some semblance of a resistance, and then it's generational. It's generational. The damage, as Danielle articulated, folks. It's when these folks who in my own communities who voted for Donald Trump, I just sit there with just pain in my eyes. Like you destroyed yourself. You destroyed yourself because all these people who think that, yeah, a bulldozer will come in. Well, if the bulldozer comes in and just wrecks everything and doesn't build anything, folks, it took a long time to wreck those buildings, right? And it's going to take a long time to build them back better. So the damage is done, folks. The damage is done, and a plurality of Americans decided to destroy itself. I've always joked that if you ever read the Quran or the Old Testament or the New Testament, you read all these stories, and you're like, people can't be that stupid. If it's flooding, you'd get on the boat. And I'm like, I lived through COVID. I understand, Noah. Can you imagine Noah sitting there like, bro, I told you it's flooding. And they're like, we're good, Noah. We're good. The water's up to your knees. Nah. And you're like, you dumbasses. Fine. I'm going to go with the goats and sheep instead. And then you saw coronavirus and people are like, yep. Americans are very stupid. I understand. There is some good news, folks. As white Afrikaners, those victims from South Africa, the people who took over the land and implemented apartheid, Elon Musk's people, as is Trump administration. This should infuriate you. We'll probably do another episode on this. Great time to be a white racist immigrant from South Africa, because guess who is allowed in the United States as a refugee right now? A plane of white Afrikaners has come to the United States of America, while planes of innocent brown people got sent to die in a El Salvador gulag, and over 500,000 mostly Latino immigrants here on temporary status, including Cubans. Yes, Marco Rubio's people. Kristi Noem is trying to get them out. Guess what? It's great time to be a white refugee from South Africa, all based on a bullshit white supremacist conspiracy theory that says that they are victims being purged of their land. All bullshit promoted by MAGA, Trump, and Elon Musk. But while that is happening, some good news is that Rumeysa Öztürk, the Turkish grad, the 30-year-old woman who committed zero crimes, who was kidnapped on broad daylight from a suburban street with masked ICE agents, 4 or 5 of them coming and grabbing her, and then flying her thousands of miles away to a Louisiana detention center where she's been for 2 months for the crime of co-writing an op-ed published in the Tufts newspaper asking America to divest from Israel. Let me repeat that again. Zero crimes. Her crime was a thought crime. She was detained for co-writing an op-ed asking America to divest from Israel. She was finally released. A judge released her, saying she has committed no crime. She's out on bail. She came out. She was grateful for all the support. She was thankful. She praised America. She reminded America about its free speech. So at least we have that. And as this is happening, Mayor Baraka was arrested and released. But these white refugees from South Africa have found safe haven in America. Danielle.
Yeah, I just want to play a part of Rumeysa's statement once she was released for all of you, because we try our best to have you leave with something that is inspiring, and it gets harder and harder to find.
Continue my case in the court. I came to United States to pursue my graduate studies, learn and grow as a scholar, and also to contribute to child development fields with my teaching, research, and applied work. America is the greatest democracy in the world, and I believe in those values that we share. I have faith in the American system of justice. This has been a very difficult time for me, for my community at Tufts, at Turkey, but I'm so grateful for all the support, kindness, and care. My advisor sent me my dissertation proposal to the prison. My lab mates have been reading me books on the phone that are very old. And my department, professors, students have sent me so many letters of support, so many supports, so much love and comforting words. My union organized on behalf of me and other international students with so much effort, love, and care. I had so many lovely people sending me letters, comforting words again. So thank you all. And finally, I will also remind one more time, please don't forget about all these wonderful women in the immigration detention systems. I was so tired of witnessing cries and pain that can be all preventable. Thank you.
The graciousness that was expressed in her speech is just, it is a level of graciousness that I would not have. And, and I am grateful for her to be able to still speak in that manner about the values that we share in this country, a country that imprisoned her for 2 months for a thought crime. And, what folks are saying that have experienced that kind of incarceration, and what they come out and talk about the people who don't have anyone rallying for them, who don't have a union, who don't have lawyers, who don't speak the language, who have not made headline news, is to remember them, right? That there are so many faceless and nameless people that are imprisoned right now for doing nothing other than trying to make a better life. And so I just, I end today, and I'll toss it to you, Waj, that like it is a time of exceeding darkness, and hopelessness, and you have to take some light from the people that have experienced so much pain and still have the ability to articulate a love of this country and a faith in a system that was turned against them. And I hope that is what people take from Rumsia's thank you a speech upon her release.
Watch. I mean, it was amazing, right? She still had hope. She was grateful. She was gracious. I don't know if I'd be that way. I'd probably be like, burn it all down and throw a cigarette in everyone's faces. But I wish I could be like that. You know, she lost 2 months of her life. She was detained, folks, kidnapped. Like, think about what she went through. It was like torture. And she had horrible asthma attacks as well. And then she comes out and she just expressed gratitude to all the people who believed in her. So I think it's important if we can take something from her, right? Thankfully, we haven't been detained. We haven't been kidnapped. We haven't been accused of thought crimes and jailed. But it could be us next, folks. I want to remind people that it was Rameza yesterday. You know, Donald Trump signed an executive order going after Miles Taylor and Chris Krebs, white Christian conservatives who work in the Trump administration. He's going after law firms. He's going after 60 Minutes. He's going after immigrants that he doesn't like. It could be you next. And so you have to take care of yourself. You have to be informed. You have to be aware. You have to fight. You cannot bend the knee, not for a second, to a bully or a fascist. You have to work in your local community, in your family. You have to gather allies and friends, and you have to do what you can to resist. And what we've seen is once you resist this administration, they're weak. They got weak chins and even weaker knees, right? Once a judge steps up to them, once any press actually asks them to provide evidence of Kilmar Garcia, what happens? They always buckle, Danielle. These are the weakest bullies. But we've seen so many people in power bend the knee, especially our corporate media. Danielle and I do not bend the knee. We are independent. We host this show. We depend on the kindness of strangers. We've kept everything without a paywall deliberately because we're fools, according to our immigrant parents. This is all viewer and reader community supported. So for all the people who give us money, the $1, the $2, the $3, it goes such a long way. Thank you, Benjamin Morrill, for the $5. Thank you, Barb. Great points, Danielle. Thank you, TM. Thank you, Jimmy, 1982. Pantalimon. Dodie Palmer, 199 goes a long way. We know it's rough. Thank you so much. The $5. Thank you, 1-6 shooter. Triple dose with the 200. Anyone who gives us anything, it goes such a long way. We cobble it together and we split it again with each other. Danielle's nice. She goes, we'll do 50-50. Most people don't do 50-50. She should be like, it's my show, 70-30. What's 50-50? Danielle's trying to get to 25,000. For those who are watching for the first time, if you are not a subscriber, please subscribe. You just click the bell if you're watching on YouTube right now. And I know this sounds silly, but we keep telling you, but it's what's common to us isn't common to most folks. The way YouTube works is these silly algorithms. The more you like the video, the more you share on any platform, and the more subscribers you get, it just spikes sometimes. Like sometimes it just spikes. So Danielle started with 0 a couple of months ago. She's almost at 25. 25 is a nice marker. Then it'll be 40, then 50. We'll get there, inshallah. So thank you all. Danielle also is on the Substack. She's on Damn Digest. Like our show that is also without paywall. Please subscribe to the Damn Digest. Fantastic comment. And she also does a great midweek check-in with our good friend Jared Yates Sexton. Yep. We do a midweek check-in on Wednesday. Yep. Our Sinners commentary from last week, people really enjoyed it. I put it on YouTube, and who would have thought?
It was so good. This week, I don't know what we're talking about, but I will say that I'll tell you this. These are the couple of shows that I've watched that are like, I actually want your thoughts on. One, I watched the film Conclave.
Oh yeah, that was great. I really like Conclave.
Conclave was really good, and that was on Netflix. I would actually like your thoughts on Conclave, so maybe we can talk about that. Talk about that for a bit. Yes, I'm gonna watch Andor. It takes longer to watch that because I thought it was a movie and it's a series.
I wish you all could go back to last week's show, go back to last Friday's show, as everyone said, watch Andor, just look at Danielle's face. It was all black and brown aunties of all time in one face. She was like,
I watched Andor. You should watch Andor. I want to hear your thoughts on it. So Conclave, and then I've watched the show just partly, Severed, which is wild.
Oh yeah, Severed. I've seen all. You got to fit. Okay, we could do Severed. You got to watch. You tell me when you're caught up with Severed, because we can't talk about it until you've seen both seasons. Severed is an amazing show. Severed and Andor, to me, are the top shows that talk a lot about what's happening right now. Andor especially, but Severed is also awesome. Severance. Sorry, Severance. Thank you.
Severance. Okay, so we'll be around on Wednesday on Substack. So do subscribe to Waj's The Left Hook, which he's putting out interviews on a regular basis there, and they're fantastic. Subscribe to the Damn Digest on Substack, and absolutely subscribe here, friends. It has been a brilliant Monday. We appreciate each and every single one of you. We will be back 12 p.m. Eastern on Democracy-ish on Friday, but midweek we are on Substack live at 3 p.m. Eastern. So do check us out there. We appreciate all of you, and have a good rest of your Monday.